So I'm thinking about what is going on my yearly list, and as always, books and reading more. Books and reading more are definitely going on my list. There's like this trend going around on, I'm assuming TikTok, but I've been seeing it on Instagram, where for every book that you finish, you embroider a little like thing onto a sweatshirt. And I've seen a lot of people do like the sleeves, and I saw it enough times that I was like, yeah, why not? I'm hoping that this will kind of help me continue, or help me realize when there's a book that I want to DNF, or when I really want to finish something. So what I did is I got all of the supplies, and so that kind of, in my head, that kind of locks me in. So I had embroidery supplies already, but I didn't have a sweatshirt that I wanted to use specifically for this. So I had to go buy a new one. This one that I got was on sale, and it is a lovely color that I don't have, aside from the top that I am currently wearing. I don't have a lot of navy. So this is the sweater I will be using. I don't know if I want to start. So this is it. It is this heather navy color. I don't think I want to start at the cuffs, because it does seem like everyone starts at the cuffs, and that does seem kind of low stakes. But I don't know. I do understand why the sleeves tend to be the most popular place to start. It is a smaller, kind of low commitment area. It's a lot less noticeable than like, bam, right on the front or right on the back. So I don't know where I'm going to start. I guess it depends on what the first book I finish in the new year will be. Other than this, I got some paper. One of the things that the various ladies that I have seen in these videos have suggested is getting this stuff called, what did they call it? They said is a type of interfacing that is water soluble. I'm always looking for a good water soluble interfacing. So this stuff is not only a stabilizer, interfacing stabilizer, it is also printable and water soluble. So basically what you do is you either draw or you print the design on the paper. You pull off this, and it's basically a sticker that you can embroider, and then you can wash it out. This is what I got. It has, I think, 15 pages in it. Yeah, 15-piece water-soluble embroidery stabilizer. So it has 15 full sheets of paper, letter-sized sheets of paper, not A4 or whatever. So it is 8.5 by 11. One of the issues that I have with this is that now I'm going to have to actually figure out a symbol for each of the books that I read, and that's going to be fun. Loads of fun. I'm hoping that hearing the story or thinking about the story all the way through while thinking about what I'm going to use to symbolize that will make it better / easier for me to decide like what I would do if I was doing this but reading my own book for the first time. We're still in December 2025, and who knows if I'll actually even, I want to stick to this. That's a big reason of why I bought all of the stuff for it. I have a small embroidery hoop already. I have a couple of different sized embroidery hoops that I will use for this. That's one of the things that I hope to be using as a way to accomplish at least one of my goals for the new year. And I guess at the very end of that video, we will see how full the sweatshirt is. There were a lot of people who were doing like really, really tiny ones on here, and I don't see the point in that. For me personally, I think it looks good on other people's stuff. I have the first 2 books finished for the year, for the month of January. Like I said before, my goal is going to be 20. And if I get more than 20, great. And if I just get 20, that's fine as well, because that's the goal. The first one, it's called A Brief History of Vice, How Bad Behavior Built Civilization by Robert Evans. But this is what the cover looks like. I thought it would be especially weird if this was one of the, if I just like took a portion of this or of this and just had that be the very first bit of embroidery for the year. So I didn't do that. I did something similar. This. And the colors I'm going to be using are going to be colors that are reminiscent of the cover. I finally finished the first piece of embroidery. I did end up deciding that I would be using the sleeve. And ta-da! It's a monkey with a drink. I finished it up at work, and one of my colleagues took a look at it and said that it looks like the like glow that saints have to make them look holy. So I'm just like, okay, so it looks like a monkey with a halo. I think it just kind of looks dumb, but I anticipate all of them looking kind of dumb. So this is what the sleeve looks like now. And this is what it's supposed to look like. So it is quite stretched out. It stretched it out quite a bit. Look at that. It's huge. As far as the little designs that I've seen other people who have done this, it is a lot more in your face embroidery design, whereas all of the other ones that I've seen have been very minimalist. But that probably also has to do with the fact that the other people that I've seen do something like this have been very voracious readers, so they've read so much more in a year than I have, so they have so many more things to do. Instructions say to submerge. Ooh, oh wow, that's coming off easy. Oh, it's slimy. I don't like it. Came off a lot easier than I was anticipating / fearing. I thought that was going to take a few minutes. It did not. That came off quick. The second book that I've read this year, it's called Legends and Lattes. It's by Baldree. I decided again to put my own together. An adventurer who is now trying to open a coffee shop. But this is what I have. It is, it's a coffee cup, and this liquid in here is going to be like coffee colored. It's probably going to be closer to like a cappuccino type of color. And there's a sword that's kind of being used as a stir stick, and it says L and L. So I thought that would be pretty cool, and I do want to kind of have it like have a couple of wisps of steam for this, and then that one will be done. These are a handful of colors that I'm looking at. A lot of them are very muted, very pseudo earth tones, I suppose. So it's still a bit stiff, but we'll deal with that later. I am fine if this is crooked. In fact, depending on how many books I get through, how much space this all takes up, I might have to start doing that specifically, making things kind of cattywampus. But I'm also starting to think that to use this specific hoop, this is the biggest that I'll be able to make it. So if I'm planning on continuing to use this hoop, then I cannot make the design any bigger than this. So I found out I did it wrong last time. I'm supposed to use cool water to rinse off the stabilizer as opposed to the warm water I was using before. But yeah. So here are the two that I have done now, and we're just going to wait for this to dry before we start with the third one. So I have the none of these colors are going to be nearly as sharp as they are when I started embroidering them, when I washed them out the first time. And I think that's because with the washable interfacing that I use, I draw on it with a pen, and the pen runs into it when I'm washing it out, and it kind of dulls things a little bit. But this is the second wash for this one, so I washed it again just to kind of get rid of more of the stabilizer. It is stiff. So this isn't going to be fun to wear until I am able to actually put it in the wash. But see, you can see more of the, it's not as dingy looking as it was before. I was very disappointed because I'm done with the second one, but there was a lot more white, a lot more bright colors on the second one. The L and L on here, right here, and this part right here were a very light white off color. They were slightly lighter than this, and you cannot tell, which is fine, I suppose, but that's that second one. Yay! The third book of the year was The Only Purple House in Town, and so I decided to go with a Victorian. This is basically a simplified version of the house that is on the cover of the book. It is roughly the same size as everything else. This one only took me like 2 days. I'm thinking, like, I don't really want to put it right here, but there's this empty spot. This is what it looks like so far. I like the thought of there being a progression up the sleeve like this, but I also don't want there to be empty spaces. But right now I just have the two, and I have the whole rest of the sweatshirt really, but I'm going to focus on the sleeve. I want you to be able to see it, which means that having it like here doesn't make very much sense. But I don't want there to be a blank space right here. Here? I can't have them be too close together, because if I see this overlaps with the other embroideries here, it is gonna hold on to it weird, and it's not gonna have as much tension. Everything, at least on this sleeve, while I'm learning how to, while I'm giving this a go for the first time, is gonna be a bit off. And as I go up and as I go further into the year, it's probably gonna make more sense and be better. Oh, it's January 28th right now. It's February 4th, and I have just finished the fourth book of the year. I had an idea of what I wanted the embroidery to look like for this book before I even started it. It's called Verity, Vox, and the Curse of Foxfire. Really good book. That might be recency bias, because I literally just finished it. I had an idea of what I wanted the embroidery to be before I even started the book. Gonna be honest, didn't really know what it was about, other than one of the people I follow on Instagram wrote it. I think at the time I knew that there was magic involved. I might have known it was a witch. I think it was I think I knew that it was a witch, and I think I knew that it was set in, like, I always want to say it feels more correct for me, being from Colorado, to say Appalachia, but I know that it's supposed to be Appalachia. And it feels wrong, but I'm trying. It's set in Appalachia. Anyway, So what I wanted to do initially was I was like, oh, it's a curse of Foxfire. Maybe there's like a kitsune in it or something like that. Foxfire is the name of the town. I decided to be a little bit more literal. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a witch's hat. Not this outer circle, that's too big. The hat itself is gonna be black. I have yet to decide what color I want the band to be. I'm going to call it the moon. And today, February 4th, 2026, it's full moon, and if you see the moon at a certain point, it's fucking huge. This part is going to be black, and this is probably going to be like an autumnal orange. So it's going to be like a muted kind of autumnal orange, kind of like this color. So it's not going to be like very bright orange, but it'll be orange enough that hopefully the idea comes across. So I have the third one done. It's the only purple house in town, and it's this one right there. I am not going to stop to wash this off because I don't think if I did that I would get like this part back in the way that I have it. So I'm just gonna set up the next one with the hoop as it is so that I can get some of these a little bit closer. This, as a decision, it is a little bit bigger than my other ones so far. It's the biggest one so far, but it's kind of simple, so I'm hoping that this will work. It might be a bit soon to be saying this, but I don't want to get bored with what I'm doing, so I've decided to play around with textures. And I'm not going to be doing this one solely in embroidery floss. I think I am going to go ahead and use some fabric. So this is going to be the fabric that I use for the moon portion. I have figured out, I believe I have figured out a good way to do this. So I have a couple of pieces that are cut out that are roughly the size that I want it to be, and I'm going to basically, I hope this works, because I've given this about, you know, a minute's thought, and I have already decided, oh, this is genius, yeah, this is totally gonna work, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be sad. So, it comes off like a sticker. This side is sticky, and I'm gonna go ahead and take these while I can still see it. It's sort of transparent, so I'm gonna go set to go like that. And then I still have a border around it, so I'm going to use that as like a tape of sorts to stick this in place. I think I want it right here. There we are. I'm not going to do any embroidery on the orange bit, but I am going to do all of this black. So that's what I have right now. I finished. I have this one. This is for Verity Vox and the Curse of Foxfire. I can't wait to wash this again, just because it is very, very stretched out. It's going to be fun for this one, for the reveal, because there's that, the fabric underneath. Book number 5 is ongoing, but I have the design all figured out, and they just keep getting bigger. I've just accepted it at this point. So I have the design. Don't judge the drawing yet until we actually see how it turns out, and when it's finished, judge the shit out of it. But the drawing is, you kind of have to use your imagination because it doesn't have any color to it. It's for a book called Game Changer. It's blueberry banana smoothie with the name on the to-go right here. So I don't want it to be just like one on top of the other on top of the other, so I think I'm going to like here. But I don't know if with this one, if I want to like make it sort of like a patch, because I want them to be closer together and kind of overlapping, like without overlapping. I just don't want to have that like a really big space around it. But this makes sense, right? So I've done 4 of these already, and this one I have felt the most insecure about. I feel like this is also the most complicated one so far, and it's the biggest one. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's February 21st, 2026 by Reid. It's the first in the series, and I tried something different. I was trying something new, or trying something different with this embroidery piece, and I wasn't sure if it would work. I'm still not 100% sure because I'm done with a chunk of it, and then I have to do a bit more before it can actually be done. Game Changer, like I said, is the first book in the series. I don't remember what the series is called, or if it really has a name. I have just finished the first one. I want that very clear. I have only finished the first one. And I did this embroidery bit, and now, like, I like how it's turned out so far, but the really nerve-wracking part is coming up here. So this is the sort of completed thing. It's supposed to be a blueberry smoothie. You can't tell because I haven't completely finished this all, but it's supposed to say Scott in like a cursive handwriting because it's a to-go cup. Anyway, I've been told that, especially because there's banana on here and there are blueberries down here, that you can tell that it's a smoothie. That has been the thing that has been giving me the most issue for the last like 2 weeks that I've been working on this. What I'm gonna do next is I need to cut this out, and I either have to get really close to the design, which is gonna be nerve-wracking in and of itself, or I'm going to leave a good chunk of space around it and then fold that in so that I can pin it to my sweatshirt, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and go over, like, do the outline to attach it to the sweatshirt itself. Instead of doing this to the sweatshirt, it's a patch. I also played with texture for those. I did a couple of different I think they're normally these designs are supposed to be for like flowers, but I was like, it's cute, I'll do it, it's fine. And then I did a couple of like knots, but they're all supposed to be blueberries. Anyway, it's all cut out. This was literally the closest I could get to all of the edges, because the back is terrible. But I didn't want to cut any of the threads or too close to the pieces, because that would start unraveling everything. Already, I am so paranoid about how close this is to some of the edges. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better once I actually get it attached to the sweatshirt. If it's not, I am going to cry, because this was difficult to complete in and of itself, and to have to go back in and change things, I would cry. I would cry. What I just did here is a mistake. If you happen to be doing this as well, don't do it this way. It's March 2nd, 2026, and I figured the only way to go about talking about this is in segments. So this is the end of part 1 of the book embroidery sweatshirt that I'm working on. I have 5 books and subsequently 5 pieces of embroidery completed, and these signify the first 2 months of the year. So here we go. I'm finally finished with the last one that I did. This one was a pill. Would not recommend, would recommend doing something better and or easier. These are the first 5. According to my goal, I'm a quarter of the way there, but according to the year, I'm a 1/6 of the way there. We'll see. I'm not going to change my goal. This is what I have. It's all on one sleeve, and I think I'm gonna stop caring about how small they have to be. And this is the end of part 1. I guess I'll come back for part 2 when I get to that, and then we'll go from there. Here we go.